The world of rock and roll stands still, a moment that feels both surreal and painfully real. The family of Ozzy Osbourne has officially announced funeral plans for the legendary Prince of Darkness. Known for redefining the sound of heavy metal and challenging the norms of fame, Ozzy's journey has now reached its final act, and the grief is global. As news of his funeral was released, fans across generations paused to remember the voice that once roared through stadiums and shook the foundations of music history. Tributes are flooding in. From fellow artists to lifelong admirers, the loss is being felt like a thunderclap across the entertainment world. Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just an icon, he was a movement. And now, the world prepares to say its final goodbye. Was laid to rest after a life that reshaped rock music, reality TV, and cultural imagination. Ozzy passed away peacefully on July 22, 2025, surrounded by family at his home in Buckinghamshire, known globally as the Prince of Darkness. He first rose to fame with Black Sabbath in the late 1960s and helped birth the heavy metal genre with albums such as Paranoid, Master of Reality, and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. After being fired in 1979, due to substance abuse, his solo career exploded with Blizzard of Oz in 1980, spawning classics like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley. His influence expanded beyond music. MTV's The Osbournes brought Ozzy into millions of living rooms from 2002 to 2005, reshaping reality television forever. In his later years, he battled Parkinson's disease, endured multiple health setbacks, and officially retired from touring in 2023, although he continued recording and making occasional appearances. On July 5, 2025, Ozzy returned to his roots with Black Sabbath for a final, charity-fueled reunion concert in Birmingham titled Back to the Beginning. Despite severe health limitations, including Parkinson's and loss of mobility, he delivered a breathtaking performance. The 10-hour event featured legendary acts like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Tool, Slipknot, and more, raising £140 million for charitable causes in Birmingham. Fellow band members were made freemen of Birmingham a week before the concert. In a documentary film of the event, Ozzy's Final Bow, scheduled for release in early 2026. Ozzy had openly shared his funeral preferences long before his death. He wanted it to feel like a celebration, not a mope fest, with no harping on bad times. Even suggested playful pranks like knocking sounds from inside his coffin were humorous. Video clips about death, while final funeral services have not been made public. Reports confirm that Osbourne's family will honor his wishes for a private, meaningful ceremony likely in the garden of their UK home, followed by a larger public memorial in Birmingham. The tributes from artists like Youngblood potentially planned for his hometown fans, as the news of Ozzy Osbourne's death swept the globe. What followed was nothing short of an emotional avalanche. From the darkest corners of heavy metal to the mainstream stages of pop culture, artists, actors, fans, and public figures paused to honor a man who had defied expectations, broken boundaries, and left an indelible mark on the world. Tony Iommi. A brother in metal. Among the first to speak was Tony Iommi, the legendary guitarist of Black Sabbath and Ozzy's closest musical partner. Their journey had begun in the gritty heart of Birmingham and had carried them to the heights of rock stardom. Iommi's voice trembled as he shared, "Ozzy held on long enough to bid farewell to Birmingham. That final concert meant everything. It wasn't just a performance, it was a spiritual homecoming. He gave us his all, right until the end." Iommi's tribute reminded the world that Ozzy was more than a performer. He was a brother, a bandmate, a fighter who stayed on stage until the very last chord. Alice Cooper, a theatrical goodbye. Cooper, the godfather of shock rock and a longtime friend of Ozzy's, didn't hold back his emotions. He honored Ozzy at his own concert in Cardiff, stopping mid-show to deliver an impromptu eulogy that had thousands in tears. He was the Prince of Darkness, but also our court jester. He scared us, thrilled us, and made us laugh all in the same breath, as Cooper led a powerful chant of Ozzy, 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 with the audience videos of their old performances played on the big screen. It was a surreal blend of sorrow and celebration, a rock and roll requiem for a fallen king. Elton John, remembering the laughter and a heartfelt message posted to social media. Elton John called Ozzy a trailblazer and one of the funniest people I ever met. Their friendship had surprised many, the flamboyant piano virtuoso and the wild, bat-biting metal frontman. But it made sense. Both were survivors of addiction, fame, and the pressures of stardom. Ozzy had a wicked sense of humor, a heart full of music, and a soul shaped by chaos and compassion. Elton added that one of his favorite memories was watching Ozzy cry with laughter during a backstage prank in 2001. He didn't just live life, he exploded through it. He said, "We're better for having witnessed it." Gene Simmons and Kiss. Fireworks for the fallen Gene Simmons of Kiss honored Ozzy with a fiery tribute during their farewell tour. Before their encore at Madison Square Garden, Simmons addressed the crowd. Ozzy wasn't just a rock star, he was the rock spirit. He was loud, unapologetic, and eternal. Flames erupted behind the stage as a massive banner bearing Ozzy's iconic bat-winged logo unfurled from the ceiling. It was a fitting salute, dramatic, unforgettable. And utterly Ozzy, Rod Stewart, an unlikely Bondovan those outside the metal sphere, paid homage. British singer Rod Stewart, known for his raspy voice and soulful ballads, spoke candidly about his long-standing friendship with Ozzy. "People didn't know, but we used to fish together. Just two blokes escaping the madness of fame." Rod remembered Ozzy as strangely gentle offstage, a man who loved his dogs, wrote poetry in secret, and often wept during emotional films. "The world knew the rocker. I knew the romantic," Stewart said. Jason Momoa. The real-life rock star actor Jason Momoa, a self-proclaimed metalhead and lifelong Ozzy fan, shared a teary-eyed video message on Instagram. "I'm broken. Ozzy was my hero not just for the music, but for showing that pain and madness can become art." Momoa revealed that Ozzy's lyrics helped him through depression as a teen, calling the Black Sabbath frontman the original superhero of Misfits. In honor of his idol, Momoa vowed to name his next film character Ozzy and wore a vintage Osbourne World Tour jacket to Comic-Con, stating, "This isn't cosplay, this is tribute." Tributes from the metal world across the heavy metal scene. Ozzy's influence was omnipresent. Bands like Metallica, Slipknot, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest each shared memories, set lists, and heartfelt eulogies. James Hetfield of Metallica tweeted, "Ozzy showed us how to be wild, weird, and still wise. Thank you, Father of Metal." Slipknot performed a chilling cover of Crazy Train in full masks, dedicating the performance to the man who made chaos an art form. Iron Maiden lit up the stage in Buenos Aires with an Ozzy tribute set and projected his face onto the screen as Bruce Dickinson whispered, "Rest well, Dark Angel." Sharon and the Osbourne family's gratitude, Aza's wife Sharon Osbourne, and their children expressed deep appreciation for the outpouring of love. In a public letter, Sharon wrote, "Ozzy always said he wasn't worthy of the love he received. But today, I know he's smiling from wherever he is, watching this world weep for him." She added, "He didn't die, he became part of rock's eternal fire." The Osbourne children, Jack, Kelly, and Amy, also shared personal messages, recalling bedtime stories Ozzy would invent, filled with dragons, demons, and magic. Kelly wrote, "He was our wizard, our warrior, our dad. Now, he's the legend the stars sing about." A global wave of mourning from Tokyo to Toronto, murals of Ozzy appeared overnight. Fans gathered in parks, bars, and churches, holding candles and playing his greatest hits. Social media overflowed with art, stories, and tributes. Thousands changed their profile pictures to Ozzy's face. The BBC and Rolling Stone dedicated full episodes to his legacy. Even Spotify's homepage was briefly taken over with the best of Ozzy Osbourne. No matter the genre, the generation, or the geography, the message was the same: Ozzy. Osbourne didn't just influence music, he transformed lives, global mourning, and cultural reckoning. Major media outlets published in-depth retrospectives about Ozzy's life, linking his rise to the industrial grit of Birmingham and marking his death as the symbolic end. of an era in British music and manufacturing culture, cities and fans responded with creativity and grief. Birmingham honored him with murals, exhibitions, and public plaza didactics. Fans in cities worldwide flocked to Black Sabbath landmarks to leave flowers, artwork, and handwritten notes. Social media was flooded with hashtags like Restimpower Ozzy, Prince of Darkness Forever, and Thank You Ozzy, while fan art, poetry, and video tributes mirrored his emotional, transformative influence. Ozzy's career spanned 6 decades, sold over 100 million albums, and included 2 inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. First with Black Sabbath in 2006 and later as a solo artist in 2024. His final studio recording, a grand orchestral version of Gods of Rock and Roll with Billy Morrison, served as a poignant farewell. Released in early 2025, that song became one of his last chart successes. Despite his rebellion and controversial antics like biting off a Batazzi, came to symbolize honesty, resilience, and authenticity. In later life, he embraced a gentler public image, famously sharing his struggles with addiction and mental health, teaching millions that vulnerability is strength. Ozzy Osbourne lived through darkness, controversy, transformation, and triumph, and left behind more than music. He left a cultural imprint, a call to roar, a legacy of chaos turned compassion, performance transformed into poetry. Metal wasn't just music with him, it was truth. As the world says goodbye, we'll remember not only the man who made us scream, but also the man who made us feel alive.